Actually, this is a good opportunity to fight and destroy something like Venice. Reason being, again, I want there to be as many emergencies against me as possible. So let's take Venice on. Yes, I know Scotland. I know. It's actually quite a good base to attack Scotland from as well, so we'll take it. I actually think it's a little bit weird that Venice has managed to go this long into the game without a commercial hub. Weird. Normally that's exactly what merchant city-states do, but nope, not in this instance. There goes Venice anyway. Go on. Give me an emergency. You know you want to. And Victor, in you get. Give me a nice bastion, a fortification where we can attack from. John Robling, 1 immunity for the city, 2 housing for the city. Nice combo. Canberra is going to get pretty massive now. How many luxuries have we got coming into the city? 0. So all of the immunities we give this city will genuinely stick. That's quite cool. And we've got Jane Drew on the way as well. So she's going to make the city even better. I'm also now picking up my first jet bombers. Excellent. These are amazing units, and I can actually now start to attack Mongolia from the other direction, which is awesome. Oh yeah, these jet bombers do so much more damage. I am so looking forward to getting these involved. Look at the power. One of the main reasons why jet bombers are just so powerful is because they do bombard damage rather than range damage. Range damage has a -17, I believe, penalty to any damage they can do to a city, whereas bombard does full damage. And it really does full damage. I mean, look, 3 jet bombers and suddenly I can disintegrate walls from a distance, from a very large distance away. This is only going to get better for me. Atomic era. Nice. Okay, this is the point where we can go for our special Golden Age war. To arms, they call it. 75% less grievances than former war and can be used immediately after denouncing. Immediately, I say. We're almost ready to go to war with Scotland over their own territory, but this is just a good opportunity to upgrade all of my bombers to jet bombers. We don't want to go in half-baked, you know? We want to go in with a full steam, a flight of perfect energy. That's what we want to be doing. Oh, flood barriers cost 2,400 production. Maybe that's not entirely a good option for me then. I thought we might throw up some seawalls, but no, alas. The Kree have researched a lot of space tech, but they're not doing anything with it at the moment, which is good. And I believe Mr. Genghis Khan is going in a totally different direction scientifically from everybody else. 51 techs, 54 Kree, 59 for myself, 62 for Scotland. That's not too bad. But alas for them, it is time. It is time. We're going to just denounce them quickly, and I'm going to go to the crew, and I'm going to say, hey, how you doing? Do you want to go for a Golden Age war? They will. They want some stuff. So I'm actually going to just not bother. I'm going to just do it on my own terms. Golden Age war. There we go. They have 1,900 military strength. It's pretty impressive. We'll try and get the Korean in a little bit, but the amount of jet bombers I've got, we should be able to punch through reasonably quickly. Now, Edinburgh has a spaceport and it has 16 population. When you're looking at invasion strategies, especially in a Golden Age, you've got to make sure that, okay, is the enemy in a Golden Age? Is it in a Dark Age? Is it in a Normal Age? Scotland is also golden, so loyalty is going to be a slight problem for us. Now, we have ecstatic cities, generally speaking, so we have good loyalty. This is, however, on my own continent, so I'm not going to get the +3. So really, I want to take a couple of cities at once. If I can take Wigtown and Edinburgh within a couple of turns of each other, I think the loyalty should hold. We're going to actually miss out Scone almost entirely. In fact, actually, do I? Oh, or do I just do this methodically from the top? Hang on. We'll probably have more of an attack than this. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to go from top to bottom. We're going to attack this city to start with. You can see my bombers have a lot of strength here, like so, and then the digger unfortunately needs a single further attack, which is a bit frustrating. Let's do this and then take the city like so. Now I can work on the next city. I think we are going to do it methodically, and then we've got more of a chance of keeping the loyalty in the cities as we go. So like so, that's all my bombers that I've got in this particular area. I've got a tank. Tank won't do it, but the tank army almost will. Come on, let's give it a go. 113 strength. Oh, not quite. 3 health left. Actually, the caravel might be able to finish it off. Oh, brilliant. I love the irony of when you get wooden boats to attack something with steel walls. I mean, I'll take it. Now, I'm expecting Scotland to have a pretty nasty city defense, but It's not going to stop me pillaging. I want to get to nuclear fission as quickly as possible to unlock Manhattan Project. Oh, a nice little naval attack into this Mongolian city. What is that looking like? I think I actually should be able to keep that one loyal if I were to stick a governor in. We'll go for Moksha because you're kind of in the other direction. There you go, lovely. And my final alliances are about to run out, so this is the time to switch to fascism for the combat bonus. I know that because Kree, the alliance expires in 2 turns, and oh, as much as I've absolutely loved the production coming into this city. It's been wonderful. Alas, it's not to be for much longer. We also have the first invasion into Mongolia. This 15 population city, bam, immediately we're going to take it. It's going to rebel in 3 turns, which isn't very nice. I stop it from starving, and it's got 16 population, or 16 pressure, so I'll just put Magnus in. And all we've got to do now, as mentioned before, is make sure we can steal another city before the timer effectively runs out. Oh, my tank, it just got absolutely obliterated. Scotland have machine guns, they have tank core. We knew it was going to be tough, but I wasn't expecting to be rolled over quite that quickly. Let's just have, I feel like I want to give my capital one last turn. One last turn to maximize its production. I think it's only fair, so we're going to do this. All the trade routes we can possibly muster. Actually, I've got no external routes now. These are all internal routes. Blimey. Okay. Well, I guess that's good. Up to 588 production. That's so good. And Jane Drew. Jane Drew is going to come in and make the city even better. Just in case we thought it was lacking a little bit. Nice little science boost for me there. And we now have nuclear fission. Jet bombers, I mean, as much as I love making these, Manhattan Project has got to be accelerated through now. And I think Operation Ivy next, followed by robotics for giant death robots. My bombers on Edinburgh are actually doing a little bit more damage than I feared they might, which is pretty cool. So let's see if we can get this city as close to 0 health as we can. Mongolia city number 2 goes down, but more importantly, this is the Kilwa city. Now, Kilwa is a fantastic wonder. Because I have 2 production city-states and 2 faith city-states, every single city in my nation will now be getting 15% extra faith and production. It's a really good combo. Remember as well, when you're looking at a city and whether or not it's going to stay loyal, you'll often see that starvation is causing a problem because, and the reason for this is because when the Deity AI works out how much food it's making, it gets a bonus to food. It gets a bonus to all resources. And Deity++, it makes huge bonuses to food. So it barely needs to put any food, improvements down to be growing the city. All you need to do is just go bump, 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 like so, and just make sure that it's no longer saying -1. If it is saying -1, then have a look and just be like, okay, fine, we might have to just change these tiles around just a touch. Like, there's a 2 food tile somewhere. Where was it? There. It's a bit of a rubbish one, but let's see if we can get that to be locked in. 0. There you go. Now it says 0. And you can see we've lost the -4 and the city is now stable. Always keep an eye out for attack ineffective as well. It always slips in, and any attack you make with attack ineffective is obviously, as you might expect, ineffective. Doesn't do anything. So Edinburgh had, and again, this is always worth keeping the Empire lens available, had 2 wonders. It had, I think this is the Great Bath, isn't it? The Hanging Gardens and the Neighbourhood. Now, Hanging Gardens is quite an interesting one because it gives growth 15% to all cities, including to my capital, which was on like 160 something food and now is getting huge growth. 3 population, well, a population in 3 turns. It's so good. Hanging Gardens, like it used to be a thing in Civ 5 where Hanging Gardens was like the tradition wonder of choice. You always used to get it. It always used to be really good. And actually, it's still that good. It really is still a very good wonder. It's just that it doesn't seem apparent as to how good it is until you start playing around with it. Next up, Wigton, 16 population. This is a big city to crack, but if we can, it'll work. Well, again, I'm just holding off switching to fascism for a second because I'm just getting one more turn of my alliance from the Kree out. We'll switch around in a second. Just spreading my religion to my cities. It's just important that I stay converted to my own religion. As soon as I lose that, I lose the +4, and the +4 is so useful. It's basically, well, negates the Deity ++ bonus. If you're playing on regular Deity, that +4 bonus the AI gets, well, that's effectively cancelled, which is awesome. The AI is getting a +6 bonus on this particular mode, but that's okay. There's the Amazon Scott research station, by the way. 20% science and 10% production in every city. Every single city. As late game wonders go, the Americana is better, but this one is right up there. And if you get both, oh boy, do you have some silly bonuses in your cities. Now, if you can even do it playing as Scotland, you get the best bonuses. But even as Australia, I'm now on a +20% immunity bonus, +20% from the Warlord's Throne, 10% from that Wonder, so that's 50%, plus my 100. So it's 150% production I've got going at the moment, 600 production in this city. I thought our communism city from the Kree game was good. This is only 22 trade routes. That's the crazy thing. Imagine a world where I had 40 or 50 trade routes going off that city. Oh, it would be amazing. Oh, my digger was strafed by a jet fighter. Wow. So the AI is using planes. Okay. Well, that's exciting. That is not a problem we often have to deal with, and I will accept it as a good thing. Unfortunately, I have noticed that I'm losing so much gold per turn at the moment, and I think it's all coming from Canberra, and I think it means there is an enemy spy in the commercial hub, which is pillaged. I thought because it was pillaged, no one would be able to steal from it anymore. That is not true. So there you go, we learn every day. Alas, the Alliance, it's run its course. Canberra is only on 400 production per turn now, and we have to say goodbye to democracy and go into the end game. Now, yields no longer matter. It is all about combat strength. That's the only thing that we care about. Combat strength, immunities, city loyalty, all of these things are very, very important. In fact, martial law gives me +4 loyalty per turn. It's a very good card, that. Democratic legacy would be awesome. And people forget this. You can actually take democratic legacy and then also go communism for internal routes as well if you want to. It's just about which government you have when you build the government plaza building. So it's just something to consider there. Third alternative gives me gold and culture. It's not really what I wanted though. National identity. Units have 50% less combat strength reduction. That's pretty cool. Yeah, those will do for now. We'll go liberalism, and I think 5-year plan probably remains the best option for me here, so we can keep up at almost 100 science. My capital is the only city I really care about, and that's still on 10 immunities, so we're doing okay. But this is fine. I love the additional range on jet bombers. Look how far away I am attacking from here. It's really, really cool. One thing I am going to do quickly is before Poundmaker goes away, I'm just going to double check if there's any war they want to get involved with. They do want to get involved with the Scottish War. It's not going to keep them safe, but it means their units are going to be probably away from their capital and being distracted with Scotland when I do choose to make that treacherous attack on them. It's the best thing to take away from this guide, really. Treachery is the most fun thing you can do in Civ. It's probably the most penalised thing you can do, quite justifiably, but it's a lot of fun. So again, Weekton is a good population centre, and we're now down pretty much into Stirling, which is the capital. The capital is where we want to be. This is where the jet fighter lives as well. We don't like jet fighters. Now, I'm pretty sure they will not have set this jet fighter up to intercept my bombers. Nope, the AI never does that. So we can just continue to make these attacks. And look, jet bombers have now got 132 strength, 5 from fascism, 3 from intel, 4 from religion. It's a really good combo. Other thing to remember is that if you see any corps or army and you have a spare plane, attack with your plane. It counts as having a single unit to defeat our army or armada or a corps or whatever it is, and you get the era score. Each one is +1. Despite being heavily outnumbered, our vastly superior jet bomber has won the day. It's such a ridiculous era score, but every time you get it, it'll make you smile. The one thing I'm going to be looking at now is just making sure I have an eye on where Kree's capital is. The problem I'm going to have is making sure that I can nab it if I were to surprise attack them in whatever way. Now, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but you can see it's a... Well, actually, it isn't. Now, this is the thing. It's not a naval city. It does have a canal, but unfortunately the encampment is next to the Panama Canal, so we can't drive a boat in. We're going to have to use a land unit, and their land is pretty well protected. I think Aksu and this encampment has a military academy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fight down, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities, and then buy a unit, and then probably nuke attack, like so. That's my strategy. Remember, nukes. Nukes are the thing. I'm going to start designating a few national parks now. My nation is about to get really unhappy because of the amount of immunities I've lost from not having New Deal anymore, so I need to go and make sure that we are as happy as we can be. Lots of ski resorts as well, that's another big thing we can do. Oh, 2 Scottish jet fighters. One just took out an ironclad in 1 hit, and the other almost entirely killed my artillery army. Terrible. Betrayal emergency. Oh no, the Kree are about to declare a betrayal emergency. That means the war is coming imminently. Unfortunately for them, I have saved up 200 uranium, and my capital can build nuclear devices every 2 turns. This is why having a lot of production is a useful thing. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to start generating nuclear devices in all of my very powerful just cities. They're all doing it in less than 7 turns is actually a bad result. Most are doing it in 5. Sometimes you can just have a look at the yield screen and say, okay, what are my very productive cities doing? You can see there's 1, 2, 3. These 3 cities actually are going to be the ones that I want to join in with the nuclear device printing. That is Stirling, that is Scotland's capital, and we are just pushing back the jet fighters. One thing that I've always thought about Civ is that if you kill a city with an aircraft station, then it flies away. Okay, I get that. With enough military planning, you can evacuate an air force like that. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing. The problem I have is that you can immediately use it the next turn. I feel like if your aircraft have had to have made an emergency departure in that way, surely they need at least a turn to scramble, to get out, to emergency refuel. Do you know what I mean? Like, to have them back in combat the very next turn always feels like it's not really penalizing having your aircraft attacked. Like, normally in warfare, if you attack an airport, that's a really big deal. That's a huge strategic advantage that you've just gained yourself by doing that. It's I don't know, it just feels a bit weird. I do like, though, however, when an encampment attacks a fighter, it's like... I just find that funny. The animation's always really glitchy. Another Mongolian city taken, and again we are now kind of right next to their capital. Oh, we just took Alhambra as well. Yay! I'll put Total War in, but I mean, we don't really need more military policy cards. It's the one thing I had enough of. So one little trick I did is in any domination game, once you have more cities than the AI, specifically 2 more cities, just found a city. That's all you need to do, just found 1 city, and look, it's the awe-inspiring sprawling empire for a score. Funny that, isn't it? Ursa has more cities than anyone else. How did this happen? Oh yes, he stole them at gunpoint. Well, that's something to celebrate, I guess. I think the AI just likes a party, really. Military emergency? No. Betrayal emergency? No. But this is where we now become at war with everyone. There you go. Everyone is now at war with us, including the Kree. It happens. When you are fighting, you know, for a domination victory, there will be a point where the AI goes, nope, you're not to be trusted anymore. And you have to sort of look at it and go, yeah, you know what? That's fair. I get it. If I was playing this game, I wouldn't trust me either. And, you know, I respect your opinion on the matter. That's what you have to say. Now, the Kree just went to war with us. Remember what that means? It means that we get 100% production for 10 turns because, you know, having... How many cities have we got now? 49 cities. Having 49 cities just isn't powerful enough. I feel like we needed that small advantage. Okay, right now we've got a lot of trade routes to send. Look at all these. Now, you can see we've got 9 gold per turn on all of these internal trading routes. Just helps to keep the gold a little bit up. That is a combination of the Great Zimbabwe, as well as one of the great merchants that we picked up earlier in the game. Another hub, we've actually got 445 production in this city still. It's doing good. It's doing really good. I'd go nuclear device them in Operation Ivy, I think. Now, the problem with the Kree compared to everyone else is that they have nuclear armadas. I mean, they're pretty powerful. Their cities are going to have 100 and something ranged attack, which should be enough to destroy most of my boats in 1 hit. everything we have fought against so far is nothing compared to about what we're going to see now. So we need to be a little bit careful. To do this, what we're going to do is actually push. Well, we've got Scotland's capital now. We can't make peace with them, but making peace with Scotland might be a good idea at some point if we can get away with it. So we'll go for... Oh, no. Oh, sometimes when you misclick and it's like you can feel it happening, you know what you've done, no way of reversing it. Right, Aberdeen has been taken. I don't really need to push back on Scotland too much. Fez is there for a liberation when I need to renew my 100% production per turn, so I've got that to keep in mind. But otherwise, I'm actually just keeping my units now in cities, like hopping from city to city, because Scotland do have some very powerful jet fighters, and I don't want to have to fight them. Being honest, they're tough and they're scary. Scotland doesn't have nanotech yet. But nobody does. Again, as long as the AI doesn't have nanotechnology, you can rest. You can rest easy. The thing I like about jet bombers is that you don't really need to worry about where they're parked in your empire. As long as they're in your empire, they will attack and they will do a good job at it. I think that is Mongolia's capital taken now. Bam! Globalization has been given to us, and I can get 115 more gold and 46 production from these trade routes, which I'm probably going to do because that's going to feed more production into my capital, and my capital is where it's at. I want my capital, yeah, look, 560 production now. It's going to be doing the Manhattan project very soon. Oh no, sorry, Operation Ivy, I should say. Which is a really good priority for me. That was the second to last capital, by the way, so we just need to keep pushing through. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cities to take from Mongolia, and we can go from there. I am not looking forward to the nuclear submarine repercussions from Cree. I can't emphasize enough that they are everywhere. But they didn't attack me. Like, these boats, I was actually just retreating to my own land to go and upgrade them, and I didn't get killed. I have a feeling these nuclear submarines may be after my aircraft carriers, and there's nothing I can really do on that. But luckily, I have enough cities in this area now, and I can always get military engineers to put down some airfields if needed. So I've got options. I don't have to rely on that anymore. Cobdo, in we come. Another city. Haha. Think this should be another city now. Fingers crossed. Is the digger powerful enough? Yes, it is. Okay, this is speeding up. This is what happens when you get an integrated attack force. Sea, land, air, all at the same time. Combined arms in their most glorious form. Yeah, just as we thought, someone was siphoning gold. I'm hoping that'll be the last time they do it though, because they physically can't siphon the gold from the district anymore because it's underwater. But I mean, we've seen crazier things, so that's fair. Operation Ivy just happened in one turn, by the way. We must have had a huge production overflow there. And now we can build thermonukes. Thermonukes. They're a lot of fun. Now this is a bit of a concentration of Cree troops here. So this is where a tactical nuke comes in so handy. Now this battleship does give a little bit of anti-aircraft, but against a thermonuke, a regular nuke I should say, it's unlikely to do much. So what we're going to do is we're going to proceed and hopefully take down everything we can at the same time. There you go, look, the battleship tried to block it, but when it comes to blocking nukes, you have to get exceedingly unlucky for that not to work. What we did there is destroy a fleet, destroy a city, and put radiation down in this area, which means that Cree reinforcements are going to find it very difficult to get through. We've sort of choke pointed ourselves defensively with some radiation. Now, in terms of nukes, I'm not too worried. I'm getting one next turn. After that, the turn after, I'm getting another 2, and that's when I get a thermo as well. So we're doing okay. We've got enough deterrent, to put it that way. Actually, to be fair, deterrent stops things from happening, whereas I am the catalyst, I guess. It's not good. Oh my god, look at that, 9! Plus 9 campus. Sometimes when you see them, you're like, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 9 for breathtaking. I mean, yeah, fair play. That's insane. Jet bombers still fighting with 132 strength. Makes a big old difference. Actually, my ironclad can finally do something useful and just try and stop this army from getting through to me. I'm getting artifacts, unbelievably. The reason this war is going so well for me is just the amount of air superiority I have. I have 13 jet bombers, and I could actually get 21. So I haven't quite got the utilization that I could do. At this stage, it's quite apparent I don't need it, but it's amazing how much faster that would be with another sort of 7 or 8 jet bombers. There's another 13 population city. I can just ignore the army. As soon as you basically see a defensive army coming at you, you can just sort of ignore it, move on, and then the city defenses will deal with it. When you take over a city, you'll have seen me do it multiple times, immediately build an outer defenses. As soon as the city takes damage, it has to wait 3 to 5 turns before it can fix itself. If you do it immediately, it counts as having never taken damage. You can fix the walls almost immediately, and then even if it takes damage the next turn, you've got walls again. It is a very handy trick that I have utilized a lot over the years. Mongolia wants peace. Probably going to take them up on that offer once I've done what I need to do. Scotland have got giant death robots. Exciting times. They're not upgraded just yet, and I'll show you the best way of defeating giant death robots before the upgrades. If you see the orange shield around them, then you've got a problem, but for now, it doesn't matter that my cities only do 3 damage. What you'll notice when you hover over them is that, look, do you see that 90 on the left-hand side? You've got 136 is the combat strength, 120 is the range strength, 6 is the movement, 90 is the anti-air defense. Only 90, you say? Only 90? Yes, only 90. Close air support. That's a plus 12 versus land units, and oh look, wha-bam! 72 damage against the giant death ribbit. It's dead. And really, they're not a problem until they have the orange shield. Once they've got the orange shield, that means they have air defense. And once they have air defense, oh boy, look at this. My radiation barrier is working perfectly. The Kree are moving their battleships through it, taking damage, and then regretting their life choices. Aksu has been taken. Now, as described before, Aksu has a military encampment. I think I have unlocked helicopters. I'll just double check. Yes, I have. Now, helicopters, unlike most other melee units, they're like cavalry, but they do a very fun thing. They ignore the terrain they're over, which means when you want to strike something and you're not sure what's happening with roads or armed forces, a helicopter is what you want to use. I'm going to just quickly, I think everything is still half price from World Congress, so I could get it with gold, but half price on gold just means it's the same cost. So we'll get a helicopter like so. Now that helicopter is totally safe in the encampment. It's all good. We're just gonna wait. For approximately 1 turn, I say. 1 turn. Yep, in 1 turn we have accumulated about 4 nukes. So this is the sort of turn that we have been looking forward to. First of all, I'm going to take a bomber from a distance. Like, okay, this sort of thing is perfect. I believe. I'm just checking out the distances. Nope, we might have a little bit of spillover from this one. So let's take one a little bit closer, like you. And let's drop a thermo nuke. What we're going to do is drop it on this mountain between Fez and Roxburgh. This means that we're going to decimate both Fez's walls and Roxburgh's walls simultaneously, like so. It's also one of the prettiest things in Civ. It's disgusting, pretty, awesome, horrible in every single way. Look at that. That's the encampment ruined, Roxburgh ruined, Fez ruined, and now with a helicopter, because don't forget, it ignores rough terrain. Woohoo! Straight through to Fez and liberate. Yes, there is tons of radiation. Yes, the entire city is on fire. No, I do not care. Actually, the helicopter, that's the worst place it could have finished, but never mind. This is why nukes beat everything. It doesn't matter how much army they have. Like, yes, they have nuclear submarine armadas everywhere. They're so powerful. They can one-hit pretty much any of my units at sea. I mean, it's frighteningly powerful, but it doesn't matter, because all I need to do is do this. Go, jet bomber, weapon of mass destruction, just behind the capital, just making sure that none of the roads in front of the capital take damage, but off it pops, and wasploosh. A little tactical nuke. I like calling small ones tactical nukes, even though they're vicious weapons of destruction. They have much more limited range than the thermo nukes, and that's probably something good. Now, the next step on any attack into the shroud of fog of war like this is you have to scope it out first, you see? You kind of do that with the mouse or with your cursor. You work out, right, it's going to go on this path, and then you do it 1 turn after another. Otherwise, if there's like even a civilian unit, like a builder or a great general or something like that, it'll block the movement and you won't get the victory. Deity ++ with an absolute disgusting start with a terrible early game war, and we have the Domination victory. We also, by the way, had a science victory pretty much locked up if we wanted, and we could have gone for a religion victory much earlier into the game. I love how much the game has to think about these domination victories once you're a bit far into the game. Look at that. A beautiful, beautiful victory for Mr. Curtin. What a random roll. I loved that. I got a score of 2,800. That just shows you how powerful domination is and how much of a domination civ Australia can be. Harder difficulties, yes, war is harder, you start further behind, but domination becomes more effective as a strategy because, and purely because, the AI is so far ahead of you, you can claim everything they've got. More techs, more districts, more improvements. That's more to plunder and more to take over once you do take the cities over. So massive, massive difference. Now the buildings constructed graph is a really good way of just basically looking at industry, and you can see just how far behind we were. We were barely building anything until we started to go to war towards the end of the game. And actually, when we look at cities captured, yes, we had a bit of a fight against France, but when I say that warfare in the later stages of the game is easier, I do mean it. This graph shows it to you. I barely took 5 cities in 150 turns, and then I took 55 cities in the space of about 30 turns towards the end of the game. It's just crazy how much it does. There we go. I lost a city, and look at that. Some Poundmaker is actually on negative cities lost. That's insane. I guess it's because we liberated cities a few times, so they got that bonus a few. Maybe it counts as negative. Crazy times. Culture-wise, I took the lead towards the end, but really we weren't very competitive. All I needed was about 100 culture per turn as quickly as possible to make sure we were getting the latest in governments. But this shows you how effective pillaging is as a strategy. We were getting most of our culture from pillaging theatre squares, government plazas, diplomatic quarters, all of those delicious things. Player science as well. Actually, I managed to say reasonably competitive, but on Deity++, Scotland was just having the time of their lives. They went up to and above 400 science per turn, and it wasn't until my wars at the end of the game that my science really accelerated. Again, it just shows you that you don't need to be ahead of everybody to effectively dominate the game, and you don't need to be producing all the science yourself. Take it via plunder. Wonders constructed. I didn't construct one until right into the game. Scotland had about 12, but again, it's just all the more for me to steal. My score, I was actually in last for most of the game, apart from poor old Tamiris. Oh dear. In fact, look at the culture. France was having such a good culture game until somebody, aka me, came along and ruined it all. And total religions founded. Good, good. We did it actually on the same turn as Genghis Khan did. Wow, goodness me, we timed that well, didn't we? And it just shows you, I've got thermo and a nuke all available in 4 turns. I can build another thermo in 5, 7, and in my capital 3 turns. So in the next 7 turns, we'll have another 6 nuclear warheads, plus all of the rest of my nation is making. I've got 18 uranium coming in per turn at the moment. It's insane. But all I would need to do now is basically just sort of pick strategic targets. And again, it doesn't matter, there's 112 strength and 20 population there. You just go, proceed. And then I'd just take this nuke and I'd go, this 14 population city, proceed. And this one, let's go for this city down here, proceed. Did you see what I mean? Nukes win you the game. Whoever has the most nukes wins any game, and it doesn't matter what other troops and army you've got. Yes, admittedly you need uranium, yes you need a production base, but the power of nuclear warheads is undisputed. The only thing you have to keep in mind, is the war weariness you generate by dropping nukes is pretty terrifyingly large. But if war weariness is a problem for you once you get 2 nuclear warheads, there are other things wrong in your game. It shouldn't be too much of a problem for you. But anyway, what a capital. What a wonderful capital. 425 productions still being produced in Canberra, even without alliances. Ah, lovely. The Kree are definitely not happy with us right now. We have done an awful lot of damage to them. Oh dear. Remember, if you like these guides and these playthroughs, and I hope you enjoy the honesty of the playthroughs, by the way. I aim to make this as good a guide as you can, but you have to see how the game goes wrong. I'm a great believer in this. My war against France was absolutely diabolical at the beginning, but we pulled it off. Even through all this rough terrain, we managed to make it work. If you enjoy these sort of guides and you find them helpful, then you can support the channel. I have a Ko-fi, I have a Patreon, and one of the massive things that really helps the video actually in terms of the algorithm is liking the video. Apparently, that's a really important metric that I just found out just how important it was. And yeah, of all the things to do, that's really cool. So that would be awesome. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next series. Goodbye! And finally, a very special shout out goes to Glorious Petra, Salty Tech, Matthew Wilkinson, Paul Coffey, Doughboy91, Scott Stratton, Major King Kong, Davalek, Skeptical Bear, Kroger Brand Trail Mix, Alex Noob, Cinnamon Beard, Portland, Petra Ryan, Matthew Hatch, Emir EC, Henry, Rom88, Radiatore, and Private Selection Genoa Salami for all of your support, as well as everybody that leaves comments and interacts with the channel generally. Thank you so much. See you all next time.